Hi, second graders. Today's skills lesson that we'll be working on together is Unit 5, lesson number 22. Our learning targets for today, we're going to talk a little bit more about alphabetizing words or putting them in alphabetical order. Sometimes you might hear that called ABC order. We're going to read words with different sounds for the letter E spelling. Now, we practiced yesterday or a couple of days ago, we practiced the letter A spelling. We're going to do the letter E spelling. Unit 5 focuses a lot on vowel sounds and spellings. And then you are going to be reading the story, Breaking the Spell, and answering some questions about that as well on your Google Forms. So, if we take a look at these imaginary students in front of the classroom, they're all holding words. We have the word young, southern, apple, and China. Okay, so we're going to put these words in alphabetical order. And one way that we can do that is we can say the alphabet song inside our head. Or you can say it out loud. I do it all the time when I put things in alphabetical order. So I'm going to start, and if I see a word that begins with that letter, I'm going to stop. And I want you to stop me too. Say stop. Okay? Let's start. What's the first letter of the alphabet song again? Oh, yes. It's A. Stop. I already see a word that begins with A, so I know apple would go first. Let's keep going. Okay? So A, B, C. Oh. There's another word. This one begins with the letter C. So I would have apple and then China. Let's keep going and see which of these two words comes next. So I did A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S. Stop! This word begins with S, so it would come next. T, U, V, W, X, Y. Stop. That's this word right here, so young would go last. And Z, right? We have nothing that begins with a Z up here for right now. So, we have them, A, C, S, Y. This is what we just practiced together. I like to check my work, so we're going to go and sing it one more time, and I will circle the letter when we come to it in the alphabet with my cursor, okay? With my big old pink arrow. I already know what's going to happen first because this is an A one. You ready? So, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. So we checked over our work, and these are all put in alphabetical order. Continue to practice that with your spelling words. See if you can treat your family to putting something in alphabetical order. Say, give me 3 words, and I'll put them in ABC order for you. I want you to wow them, blow their minds, okay? Remember, the focus of Unit 5 is a lot on vowel sounds and their spellings. We talked about the letter A the other day, and today we're going to talk about the letter E and what sounds the letter E can make, because holy moly, there's a whole bunch of them, right? So let's review some of these different sounds. The first sound is eh. Everybody say eh. Good. That's our short E sound. Super common. We see it all the time. We have pet, left, and test. All of those use the short E, eh, for the letter E. How about this sound? This sound says E, and sometimes the letter E can say E. For example, in the word me, rewind, which means do it again, and she. All of those letter E's make the E sound on this page. Ooh, this is one of my favorites. We know this is the schwa sound. Put your shoulders up nice and tight and go, ugh. Good. So we have debate, benefit, and strategy. Okay? So the E in all 3 of these words makes the or schwa sound. Remember, you're practicing spelling schwa, S-C-H-W-A, as your tricky word this week. Okay? You will be practicing the sounds for the letter E on your Google form today as well. Next up, you're going to be talking about Breaking the Spell, which is our next story in Sir Gus. Okay? The story's called Breaking the Spell. What happened in the last story called The Wizard? How did the wizard end? And today's story is called Breaking the Spell How do you think Sir Gus is going to break the wizard spell? We got a lot of sleepy people here. How do you think Sir Gus is going to do it? Make a prediction about what you think might happen. Okay, you might think that this big old tricky word that the AI says A, because normally AI says A, just like in the word again. This one is a rule breaker because this AI says eh. So this word says that's a schwa A, against, just like this word says again. What does it mean if you're against someone? Does that mean you're with them? Or you are opposite of them, maybe fighting against them or competing against them. Yes, you're opposite or competing. Good. So some of the spellings you're going to come to are schwa plus L, so which you're practicing in some of your spelling words this week. We have puddles and tremble. When you tremble, you shake. And then we have O consonant E that makes the sound, like come and done. We also have the letter A making the schwa sound. For example, affected, away, and awoke. Okay, let's look at some of our vocab. The first one is coo. A coo is a soft sound that a dove makes. Okay, a very soft, delicate sound that it might make. The next one is damp. If something is damp, it's wet or moist. Okay, the next is a puddle. A puddle is like a pool of water, and a lot of times it comes from precipitation like rain. And then the last one, I'm not sure about this picture, but it says, nor was he fond of rats. Okay, so this phrase, nor was he fond of rats, means he also did not like rats. Okay, raise your hand if you do like rats. You're crazy, right? Miss Prairie was not fond of rats either, but we'll see how that comes up in today's story. Okay, we do have time, so we are going to read this story together called Breaking the Spell. So follow along with me on my page. You will have a copy of this as well. Breaking the Spell. Sir Gus awoke to the sound of doves cooing in his ears. He felt the birds rubbing against his chin. Luckily for him, he was asleep when Albert the Wizard cast his spell. Because he was asleep, Sir Gus was not affected by the spell. The doves that were released when the jousting began had come back to the arena and woken him up. Sir Gus rubbed his eyes. He lifted himself up off the ground, then he dusted himself off and looked around. He could not quite believe what he saw. The hundreds of people who were clapping and cheering were now fast asleep. All of them. Just then Sir Gus saw the Black Knight ride past. The Black Knight was carrying a sleeping King Alfred away on his horse. Sir Gus followed the Black Knight. He saw him carry the king down the steps that led to the palace dungeon. Sir Gus was confused. Goodness, what's happening? He said to himself. Sir Gus crept down into the dungeon to look for the king. It was very cold and dark in the dungeon. Sir Gus did not like it one bit. He grabbed a torch to help him see in the dark. The torch made things even scarier, for it let Sir Gus see all the scary things in the dungeon. He saw water dripping down from the damp walls. He saw puddles. He saw mice and rats running back and forth. Sir Gus shivered. He did not like mice, nor was he fond of rats. I can make a connection sign there. The dungeon was filled with cobwebs and scary spiders. The sight of the spiders made Sir Gus tremble and shake. Sir Gus made his way past lots of cobwebs. In the end, he found King Alfred asleep in a tiny cell. Sir Gus went into the cell. A bat swooped from one dark corner to another. Sir Gus was afraid of bats. Of course he was. He's afraid of a lot, isn't he? He jumped with fright and ran over to the king. The terrified knight reached for the king's left hand. As Sir Gus grabbed it, several strands from the web of a male garden spider were rubbed into the king's left hand. Instantly, the king awoke. Let's look at that last paragraph again and see, why did the king wake up? It says he jumped with fright and ran over to the king. The terrified knight reached for the king's left hand. As Sir Gus grabbed it, several strands from the web of a male garden spider were rubbed into the king's left hand. Instantly, the king awoke. All right, taking a peek at your Google form. At the top, you are going to tell me which sound the E makes in each word. So for example, the first word is meter. Does meter say like send, E as in me, or as in debate? Meter. Good. Meter says E as in me. Then you're going to read the story Breaking the Spell, and you have a few questions to answer. At the bottom, look back in the text to help you. Number 6 says write at least 3 complete sentences describing the dungeon. Be sure to use correct capitalization and punctuation as well as details to describe it. If you type something that says, the dungeon was dark, or the dungeon was scary, it will not let you submit. You must write at least 3 complete sentences, okay? I believe that this is all. These are the discussion questions you'll be answering after you reread as well, okay? So we talked about putting words in alphabetical order, and we practiced with those 4 words, right? We read words with different sounds for the E spelling. We talked about we talked about E, we talked about right, our schwa. And we took a look at the story called Breaking the Spell. We had some extra time so we could read it together today. You're going to reread it in your Google form and answer the questions about it on your own as well. And, my friends, this is all for today's lesson. So very nice job. Keep practicing your spelling words at home. You guys are doing fantastic. We will see you for tomorrow's lesson.